Hi again. Okay, so I am ready to post the third installment of the series I'm working on, applying KonMari to advanced minimalists. And when skipping clothes, my third video is going to be on the Komono category, which, to what I understand, is everything else, junk drawer, things that otherwise maybe wouldn't have a place. So I wanted to show you the list that I've been referring to, and I just got this from one of my Facebook groups, KonMari with Kids. And here's a breakdown of each category, and it helps to keep you kind of on track with what might fall into that. And honestly, a list is a good thing because there are some things that I didn't realize would go in that category, like I talked about yesterday with the thank you cards. So in Komono, a brief rundown, it's such a vast category. It encompasses so many different things. For example, spare change, credit cards, rewards cards. Oops, I did those yesterday, so I didn't read my list very well. Envelopes, bubble wrap, mailing boxes, filing cabinets, binders and planners, journals and notebooks, notepads, hole punches, calendars, clipboards, folders and page covers, label makers, shredders, staplers and staples, rubber bands, paper clips, binder clips, tacks, labels, pens, pencils and lead, erasers and whiteout, markers, tape, stickers, music players, CDs, electronic cords, empty electronic boxes, electronic components, phone accessories, spare cords, yarn and tools, fabric, sewing supplies like thread and etc., scissors, buttons, felt, magnets, jewelry, beading and wire, embroidery, zippers, glues, and kids' craft supplies. So it's a big, varied list. It kind of touches a lot of different sections. So I went ahead and gathered everything in that category of my own belongings, and I'll just give you a quick peek. Normally I keep all craft items. I kept basically all that stuff except CDs and cords in this bin here in my closet, and I just put a label on it now, craft supplies, and that's what I was referring to as my art box. So it's just a canvas tote from Dollar Tree. So that's what I was keeping everything in, and now I think that there's some things that maybe don't belong in there, some things that do. I also went ahead and made the tote I told you about yesterday that I was going to make for my husband to sort, and I've already gone through one of these bins and found all the little miscellaneous husband doohickeys that belong in there. He's on board with the tote, so this is going to be where I put things when I clear out, like my mail sorter, for example. So just a quick turn here. Alright. This is everything that I had found in that whole category. All of this stuff here was all in my art tote. Other things that were included were in electronics. I had this in one of those dresser bins I told you about in my bedroom. And my CDs, the spare change, and magnets from off the fridge, pens, things like that. So, work with me here, baby's awake again. What are you going to do, right? So, first of all, I guess I'll just go down the list. First was spare change. Now, normally, we just keep it in a tin, and her suggestion was to only put it all in your purse. And, like I said, a coin purse. I don't carry a purse. This works for us. We put anything that we find in this tin that we keep on top of the laundry machine, the dryer. And my husband's big on like having change in his pocket, and so I find it in the dryer if he doesn't, clear out his pant pocket or whatever. So, if you can't keep it all in your coin purse, take it back as frequently as you can. She also has a rule that things should be put where it's easiest to put them away, not where it's easiest to get them out. And that would be on top of the dryer for us. It's easiest to put them away when I'm cleaning out the dryer of things that got in there, and so it just goes on the tin on top of it. This is a system I'm going to keep. We return these to Coinstar every now and again. It doesn't fill up real fast, so it's just not a big deal to me, and at least they all have a place. My husband and I both know where the place is. It's where the coins go. So that's going to stay for us there since we just don't really carry change that much. Secondly on the list, and I can go ahead, I'm going to mark these off as I go, was credit cards and reward cards, and I've already checked those off because I included those yesterday, and I put them with my paperwork. Envelopes, bubble wrap, and mailing boxes, filing cabinets, I'm checking off because I don't have any of those. Binders and planners, I had the one binder I showed you yesterday with work stuff in it, and that's going to recycle. Planners, I had one and I didn't use it, so I already don't have that one. But a planner could be, you know, a small pocketbook one. It could be one of the big leaflet ones. If you use it, I think that's awesome. I just I don't make enough plans to do it, something I can't add onto the events of my phone to remind me. And that's definitely a far better paperless option if you can go that direction anyway. Hold that thought. Okay. Next is notepads, and I showed you notepads and notebooks. I put that with my paper, the one notebook that I have. Journals, I recently, actually last year, got rid of all of that. My sentimental things were kind of the last thing I really worked on. It's a hard category, it really is, and I have one canvas tote remaining. I think it's one box of little things and a few school-related things. So I have it down to that, and I think I had gotten rid of all of my journals. For me, who I used to be doesn't reflect who I am today, and the truth is I didn't want my daughter to maybe find that if something ever happened to me and think that's who my mom was, or, you know, even before she was born was when I got rid of them, and I wouldn't want maybe my family to find them and think that's how I felt about them. That's how I felt about my parents at, 14, but that's not how I feel about them at 27, so it's not like pictures, when you don't want to keep pictures because they're not reflective of who you are today. It was kind of the same thing for journals for me, and that was one of the last big things that I've purged. That it was a difficult category for me, but it felt freeing in a lot of ways to close that chapter and say goodbye to it, because otherwise there's still kind of those ghosts hiding, waiting for you in those books. So that being said, I can go ahead and mark those two off. So I'm going to take a quick moment. Sorry about that. More baby. Alright, so now, next was hole punches. I do have one, which I didn't even realize, but I do keep one in my craft bin. I don't remember why I would have had this. I think I had to make a confetti one time or something like that from paper, so I do have one. But that's in my art things that I'll keep because I only have one, and it comes up once in a while. Calendars, I don't have any with this new year. I did have one from last year that was a gift for the Christmas before, and since it no longer applies to 2017, I said sayonara to that one. I don't own any clipboards. I do have a white, a dry erase board on the fridge, and that one, I used water on it, so it's not that, it doesn't work real well anymore, but I am going to get a nicer one that isn't from the dollar store, because we use it. We write our shopping list on it sometimes of things that we run out of. It's how you communicate between the spouses of what you need at the store. But the one that is no longer useful to us is going to go, if it doesn't work, of course. Folders I went through yesterday because I had the one folder and I put that in my paperwork. I kept a folder that's blank just in case of needing it to take maybe some of her paperwork to the county clerk's office or something. You don't want that information loose and open. So I do have a folder for on the go or whatever, but just one. Okay, label makers. I did randomly receive a label maker from my parents this summer. I guess they were garage sailing and found one for $1, and it's come in handy. I have her drawers labeled. Obviously, I have my bins labeled. It's definitely not a necessity, but for organization, it's kind of nice to have. And, you know, it's not huge, doesn't take up a lot of room. I don't have more than one, so I think it's, you know, it's worth keeping. I like it. Shredders, don't have any of those. Staplers and staples, don't have any of those. And in my case, if I need something stapled or, you know, just like something faxed, you can go somewhere that has that available to you. Like, you know, my husband works in an office. I can easily have him staple something for me on his way home from work, or, you know, at your church, or whatever works for you. A lot of things can be borrowed that don't need to be bought, and that has worked out great to keep a minimal home. A lot of people are more than happy to share what they have, and I've enjoyed sharing some of what I have with other people as well. Next is rubber bands. Fresh out, but it makes sense that it would go in this category along with paper clips, binder clips, tacks. Those things I think all would make sense to go in this category, so you know right where each piece is if you do have them. Obviously you want to find a way, maybe make it into a ball or put it all in one bag. That way it's easy to access and it's not just rolling around in your bin. Labels. This is the only labels I have. They came in a set, and I was using them to label baby totes that I didn't end up using when I was sort of doing a DIY changing table. But I use them on certain things like jars, for jars that I take to the bulk bins and things. And with that goes chalk, which I don't think is listed on the category, but it's a chalkboard label, so you can rewrite things on it and whatnot. So that'll go back in my bin. Now pens. Pens are something that I had in my silverware drawer, and I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but the kitchen is kind of the hub for where we keep certain things that we use every day, and so I'm going to try and change that up per this book and keep everything where it goes. I had thought about putting it in my envelope sorter by the door. To me that makes sense too, but I think what I may do is just change up where I keep the location of my craft bin. Instead of keeping it in my closet, put it in a more accessible place, like in the utility room or in the hall closet, where it's not such a big deal to grab a pen or, you know, grab whatever. So I went through, there were some that were from the car and they were dead, so I went through and checked, obviously throw out any dead ones that don't work, because those most certainly can't serve you. And I have 3 pens plus the one I'm using. You'd be amazed at how quickly they disappear, I'm sure you know. So I think it's okay to have 3. And then I have a writer Sharpie, and then I have 2 permanent markers. I'm not really sure where they came from, but I actually use permanent markers in my crafts a lot. So those are gonna stay, and I will find, I'll show you, I have a mason jar that I keep like paintbrushes in, so I'll just keep them in there as well, so they're standing up and easy to grab. I'll come back to that then on how I store them. I don't have any pencils or lead. I don't have any erasers or whiteout. The only markers I have are fabric markers. I bought these for my sister's baby shower. We were writing on a onesie, but I think they might come in handy to keep for the future for, you know, writing on t-shirts or, you know, whatever fun craft thing you might have, especially with a up-and-coming toddler. Might be fun to do little things. So I would keep those with my pens. However, I don't think I need the packaging. So the packaging can go and the markers can stay. Okay? Let's see, tape. Now, with tape, I have 3 open containers, and that is because I had one, and then recently for Christmas I went through and I was keeping like the wrapping paper and stuff in my Christmas tote, and in there I found 2 rolls of tape, which I was glad to have them in there. It made it easily accessible, but all the tape should go with all the tape, right? That's the point. When she wants you to start a category, she wants you to grab everything from that category and put it in a pile, and then there's no, oh, I forgot about this over here, I forgot about that over there. Everything's there and you can see, wow, I have 3 and I had no idea. So that's why I saved them out of the wrapping paper bin. Not bin, but in our Christmas decor section. So these are all partially used, and like this one looks like it's got about one more tape piece left in it. You know, they're not going to be long lasting. I definitely don't want to waste them. In any other circumstance, you wouldn't want 3 of anything, but I don't think either of these have much life left in them, so I'll just use those up as I go. I have a lot of gifts that come up and things like that, so I think it's all right. They will be gone before long. Here. I have, let's see, next, tape stickers. I don't have any stickers. I guess I would count stencils. The reason I have some crafts, even though I don't use them every day, I make a lot of homemade gifts. Things come up. I stencil things a lot when I make homemade gifts. And so, these aren't all alphabetical anymore, but they're all in there. I keep stencils. So I do have 2. And this one's going to go because I hate this one. It bleeds through. It doesn't make a good stencil. It's just a poor quality stencil, I guess. So that one's going to go, but this one has served me well, and it's made a lot of projects, so this one's going to stay. But maybe someone better than I can figure out how to use the stencil that doesn't work for me. I'm not very crafty. I just try. That is it on the stencils. Oh, when it comes to tape, I also have packing tape. That comes up because I mail things. You know, I sell things online once in a while, like cloth diapers you can't use anymore and things like that. So it's important to have packing tape. So that will go with the rest of the tape, of course. Next is, I'm going to come back to the electronic stuff and go back to the craft stuff because that just makes sense to me. Yarn and tools. I don't have a ton of that kind of thing. Encompassing that section, yarn and tools, fabric, sewing supplies, scissors, buttons, felts, jewelry, beading, wire, embroidery, zippers, and glues, kids' craft supplies. I'm just going to lump that together. I have the pair of pinking shears that I talked about in my zero waste video for pinking like other fabric and making them into something like unpaper towels, things like that, to where it becomes a no-sew project, which is what everybody has time for, right? And so the pinking shears, which I used to borrow but now live too far away from the family member that owns them, I purchased on my own. So I think it's okay because it can be used to, you know, save on a lot of different things. But I only have one, right? I have a pair of kitchen scissors as well that I don't count because they're specifically used in the kitchen. Opening packages, you know, cutting mushrooms up, whatever. So those are specifically kitchen scissors. I also have pet clipping scissors, but I believe that would belong in the pet section. That's later on in a different category. So they're a completely different kind of scissor, if that makes sense. So hopefully I'm doing this right. Makes sense to me. I feel like pet scissors that you only use on the pet would go in the pet section, and these are the only ones that I would use as craft scissors. So we do have a sewing kit of sorts. You'll probably laugh at me when you see it, if I can find it, but, oh, I have another label. These are little tags that I had for a shower that I used as a shower decoration, a baby shower. And they'd be adorable gift tags as well, so no sense in throwing away a third of the package because I didn't use them. So those will go in there as well. I have, for glues, I have some Mod Podge. I make some wood transfer pieces, and you need Mod Podge for that, which I think is basically glue and water. I'm not positive, but I think I've done about 3 projects with this now. So this I bought, or I'm sorry, I actually picked this up on a free cycle. I asked for some if anybody had any, so I didn't have to purchase, just a little from their big jar, and somebody had more than plenty they were happy to share. So that was a nice thing to receive. I just purchased these just last week. I didn't have any glue sticks before, but babies. But I did pick them up because I have a project that has been in the works for a little while. One second. So, there. I've had a project in the works, and that would be where this comes in. I've been saving little things since I've been pregnant for the baby. I'm not big on keeping sentimental things anymore, but I did want to make a little scrapbook for her for when she's older. Personally, I would have loved to have something like that of my own childhood. So I just found something that I could put thick things in, you know, like flowers that I dried out from my shower dinner that I can put in here with her shower paraphernalia and things like that. And I found just a cheap thing of scrapbook paper to go with it. Nothing real fancy, but I wanted the glue stick to glue, you know, maybe like pictures to it and things like that. And so that's why I have those. And I just picked these up. The thing about projects is that they can get so out of hand. You know, I've been guilty of, I've had this project forever. And I recently went through my craft bin and found a project that I never did. And the fact is if you haven't done it in X amount of time, it probably won't get done, much like book reading. So I would challenge you and myself to set a date on a craft. If it's something that needs doing, then it's worth putting a date on it. For example, this t-shirt that was in my craft bin, my husband just went through his clothing, shockingly, the other day, and he got rid of about half. I was pretty surprised. Not really sure where it came from, but I wasn't going to ask questions. He really wanted to keep this t-shirt of our favorite band, and it's old though. It's pilling, and it, you know, it's not a great quality. It doesn't fit him great anymore, but it you know, it's got the band name, so you didn't really want to get rid of it. So I suggested something I recently saw where you can you know, cut out around the logo, put it in a frame, and you would never know, but it becomes excellent wall art. And we have also a poster that's meant to go up in the room of the same band and that kind of thing. So I thought it'd be a cute theme with our concert tickets to go with it, and you know, a way to keep those things without really keeping them as clutter. Repurposing them into something that's meaningful if you are wanting to keep it. So this project I intend to have done by the end of the month, where I will cut this out and I will get a frame and I will put it on the wall with the poster that we've forever been meaning to get a frame for. So by the end of the month, that's what I'm committing to, is getting this. I've had it, this is the third day I've had it now in the craft bin, so I'm giving myself a couple more weeks to get it done, and I think that's a good approach. Set yourself a date, and if you didn't, you know, it's motivation. If you didn't get it done, then it has to go. So if you really mean it, then it's sitting there waiting for you by a deadline. Same with this. I have her scrapbook that I'm hoping to do within the next 2 months as well, at least the first few pages that I can get out of her drawer and into the book. All right. So, that being said, on the craft section, I also have an ink pad. I use this when, I picked this up when she was a newborn for Daddy's first Father's Day for a footprint card. And something like that will come in handy as well. I have 3 rolls of ribbon that I was using for a taggy blanket craft. And you know, doesn't hurt to have ribbon. They're just Dollar Tree things, little wooden thing for the crafts. And all these things are basically something that I'm going to come up with something to use them on. I have a hot glue gun and a little baggie that holds my hot glue. So I guess that would have gone in the glue category, right? Okay. Next is, I have paint. With my paint, most of the crafts that I make include paint. And I have basic colors that I pretty much can use every time. I only have a few. I have like a off-white, I have a brown, an orange, a black, a tan color, a brick red, and a gold. And these have served me for pretty much every craft I've needed to make. I haven't really needed to go out and buy any blues or anything. That's not to say you wouldn't, but just to say that, you know, I'm trying to keep a minimal stash of paints and just make projects that work for those colors so that it doesn't get too out of control. Because if it does, there are other, you could easily post on FreeCycle saying, hey, I have all this extra craft stuff, all these paints, and I don't use these and I don't want them to dry out. There are other crafty people that would love to pick up those paints for free and get use out of them where you couldn't. Or, of course, if you'd rather donate to a thrift store, people live on finding those half-filled bottles for $0.25. So either way, it's a win-win. If you can't use it, someone else can. I have a project that I started. I was trying to teach myself to relearn how to make hemp necklaces. So I did find a few little half-finished pieces that I cut the wrong size of. Sort of a half-finished, maybe I can make this a keychain, but I never did. Things like that don't need to be floating around your bin. Just let them go. Let them be free. Promise that you'll make them better next time, right? So things like that. I am keeping what I have left that's a fresh roll because I'm not going to pick up an old project from 3 months ago. It's just the truth. So I have some colored stuff from something I intended to make at Halloween, but these colors will work for other things, so it's not wasteful to hang on to them for a project you're looking to learn. This goes with it. Before getting beads into the hemp necklaces. Something that I would really look forward to learning. I think it would be fun even maybe as a side business. I have beads that went with it. This one's open, this one's not. I didn't pick it up yet after I purchased those ones. Alright, so just different kinds of beads. One would be for children, one would be for adults maybe. Now, on to more serious things. As a side note, I did find one that I meant to do by Halloween, and another little charm to go with the hemp necklaces. And the fact is I never made these projects. Lucky for me, I still had the receipts. So these puppies are going to go back and be invested into a new whiteboard at Joann's. So I still have these. I've had them since August and didn't make the project, so they're going to be returned and put to something that's more use to me now. Just a thought there about hanging on to receipts. They were all in the bag that I bought it in my craft bin, so that's telling you how uncommitted I was to that project. Okay, so when it comes to electronics, I pretty much kept things in that little drawer I told you about. Yeah, I am missing my craft bag. It's a little sewing baggie. I had it in the pile. I must have dropped it, but it's just one of those little Dollar Tree kits with a needle and a button and a measuring tape. I had 2 of these. This one was from my daughter's well visit that she had at our apartment, and I think I kept it for art too, but there was one in our sewing kit, and that one's 1 inch longer, so obviously this one can go, right? Okay, so anyway, in our electronics, I had 2 phones, 2 smartphones. One, my phone died and I had to use my husband's, so I have this one still. And since this one was his, this one I'm going to keep because of that reason, and also because I think it's good to have a backup in the event you drop your phone in the toilet and you are waiting for a business call or whatever. You can easily reactivate a different phone. I think it's good to have a backup just in case. You can always run out and buy it, but because it is a pricier replacement. For example, my rule, I picked up the rule from the Minimalists, which is to only that you can get rid of things that you can replace for $20 or less or in 20 minutes or less. And so since that's a bit more of a pricey replacement, it's not one that I think would be smart to get rid of in the event of needing it. You know, if it's gone a long time, you never needed it, and you have a different one by now. For example, the one that I got, that I was done with when I switched to this one, I still have. And I have the cord for it here. I found the little pieces and put them together. It charges, it works. I saw the other day on my FreeCycle group of a woman that needs one to communicate with her children and her grandchildren in Florida, just wanting a cheap smartphone to be able to talk to her grandkids. And I'm going to give this one to her. And this one we're going to keep for backup, and also because it wasn't mine originally. I have my I have a booklight. Just a little booklight. I use it only once in a great while, but once in a while I do use it. So I have the cord for my Nook that I showed you yesterday in the book video, and I have the cord to my smartphone. Now, this usually is plugged in by my side of the bed. This one will get put by the Nook. And these, you know, basically this is where everything kind of was. So it makes sense that everything should go together. I did find this cord that is for what I assume is a long-lost music player that we were hoping to find and we just never did. So this one can go because it never found its match, sadly. And like I said, this is gonna go to a gal as well. When it comes to DVDs, my husband he prefers to, for the most part, keep them in their cases. And I have like the collection of a DVD series I watch, Smallville. It's got 10 seasons, so it's a lot. But those I keep in the box. It's just one that is special to me. She's playing with the door spring, if you can hear that. And then I also have this that kind of goes with a thing. When I'm done with this, I don't think I'm keeping it. This I'm going to get rid of, but I plan on starting this one soon. My system is binder. I keep everything in here. I keep all the DVDs in the front, and I keep all the music in the back. It's worked for me. I've never regretted not having the DVD cases. Everything's in one spot. I don't feel like there's a ton I can go through. When I first started minimalism, I had so many DVDs. Scratched up, unlabeled, duplicates, and I had a huge purge back then. And I mean, I remember dumping out the container all on the floor where I kept everything. Not in a case, not cared for, not loved, not appreciated, and everything was just a mess. I dumped it all out, and I just had a huge go of it. And it was hard at first because I felt like they all belonged with me. But could I even listen to them? No. You know, sometimes when something's scratched, you can rip it onto your computer, and it doesn't seem to carry over those scratches for the most part. It transfers the data without the scratches usually, and you can have that digital copy. Like I said, at some point I would like to have a digital copy of everything, including my DVDs. I just don't have a way to do that right now. I don't have the hardware for it, but I think that would be fabulous. I'd be fine with not having one single hard copy of anything, but for now I do, but I don't keep the individual cases. My husband does. I have some of my daughters, for example, her Baby Einstein collection. Most of hers I don't need to keep. She mostly watches like Netflix if we even have her watch TV or something, but like Baby Einstein, I would hope to give that to another mom, maybe sell it when she's done with them, probably in the not too distant future. And so those are something that I would like to keep the cases for, because I don't want to just hand a mom a set of, you know, DVDs. But these are no big deal. Either they're burned or they were a $5 copy or something I've just had for, you know, 10 years or something. So, you know, nobody cares about having Napoleon Dynamite in its case, least of all me. So this is how I keep everything. I don't really have anything to go right now until I get a digital burner onto a separate hard drive or something. Would be really exciting. That would be a next level for me. I'd look forward to that. Okay, something that I don't see a category for in KonMari, in the KonMari method, so I'm going to add it in here in the Komono section, would be gifts. I hang on to gifts every now and again. I just had some in my art bin, which is where I kept them, and they went for Christmas. Finally was able to use them. Things I'm hanging on to for a certain event or category or whatever. Like this, for example, I've held on to. I had hoped to give it for Christmas, but we went a different way with the pictures for my mother-in-law. And I really don't know where else you'd keep gifts. I guess maybe with your gift wrap would be an option, but I don't keep a ton of that around. I have a few like ribbons and bows and things like that. But I keep my gifts in the craft supplies for now, and I guess that doesn't make sense. So if you have any suggestions about where you keep your gifts. If you feel you have an organized, minimalistic view of the KonMari method as it relates to gifts, then I would appreciate that in the comments. If you can let me know what you do. Do you keep it with your gift wrap? Do you keep it with your craft supplies? I'd love to know. So for now, I'm keeping it where I always do because that's where I know where it is. And that's the only gift I have left. That's going to go for her birthday instead of Christmas in 1 month. So that won't be too long of a keep. Now, the pens and permanent markers, they're going with my paintbrushes, which reminds me, my paintbrushes, I only have the ones I use except for the, whatever this Bob Ross doohickey is. I don't know, but it spreads paint on a canvas or something. Shows you that I don't use it. So this can be donated to maybe another crafty person, and it's going to go in my bag of donations. So I'm going to show you what I have here. All right. Oh, pardon me, one more section. Magnets. My mistake. Now, we use ones that double as chip clips, just things we get from work, he gets from work. So these can be bag clips for, you know, bulk bin bags or whatever, just call them chip clips. But they're also magnets. And I'm purposefully trying to not keep things on my fridge anymore. Like I said, I had coupons up there clipped to this, and the coupons go in the coupon bin now, bag. So I keep this, which is technically a magnet of kitchen measurements. I find it useful. I thought it was sort of cluttery when I found it, but it's come in handy, really. So, you know, I'm not a wondrous cook or anything. I try, but the measurements come in handy for a conversion. And it also doubles as a magnet, so it's a dual purpose for me, and I'd like to keep this. My husband felt we didn't have enough magnets recently, I guess, so he brought home this stack of 6, and we also had this. I just mentioned to him, do you think we need that many? And he said, well, I brought those home because we needed more, but now you've cleared off the fridge, so we don't. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe keep one. I'll keep this little one here. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and it's just like a round magnet. And then I'll keep one of these, and the rest can go to donation, just to make sure, you know, we're covered. And that's it. That's it for the magnets. The rest of these are going to go, because we don't need a whole stack of them, right? So, that being said, of that category, now really it's probably still more magnets than we need, but whatever. We don't want to be too crazy, right? I'm going to get my pile together here so you can see. See, I would say I decluttered, let's see, it was 5 magnets, a tape measure, a couple little, you know, chunky pieces that were floating around, my 2 things that are going to be returned, my stencil, the extra phone, and the cardboard box that the fabric markers came in, and that extra random cord. So what that leaves me with is, I have my scrapbook folder for my upcoming project, as well as the shirt that goes with a separate upcoming project. This is my list. I have my telephone cord and my e-reader cord, a book light, magnets that go on the fridge, my backup phone for that just in case, because phones are expensive and I drop it a lot, and then my craft container. This is not too big. You can see in reference to my hand. And it's where I have everything. Honestly, a better system would be to have like a drawer pull where you have, you know, paints in one drawer, and then markers in one drawer, and, you know, whatever in another drawer. But I'm not going to go out and purchase a separate organizing tote just for that reason. I feel like that would defeat the object. So I'm going to use what I have, even if someone looking at that might say, ooh, that's not each in its neat little section. If there's a way you think I could separate it better, Marie Kondo talks about shoe boxes a lot, but to me it's just putting something in something else. I know where everything is. I don't feel like it's a lot, but if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. For now, I'm enjoying the fact that I kind of decluttered a little bit more of some things that I need. I didn't realize that there was, you know, an extra cord for something we've never used in forever. I'm glad to be rid of the stencil that I don't really like. And I'm glad to have a date on a project, and so it won't get away from me. So that's everything, and also, of course, my my DVD system. I really hope to digitize that soon. The cords. That's it. I think I'm going to take away from this and move this bin to the utility room. I think it makes the most sense, maybe, rather than in the closet. She suggests storing a lot of things in the closet, but I think that that's more of a, like how Japanese homes are built, is that they don't have a ton of storage. And we do have a utility room, so I think I'm going to utilize that, just like they want batteries and candles in there. Seems to be a similar category to me, since I don't have a spare bedroom for crafts or anything like that. And I just have the one bin. And if markers and pens are going to be in there, then it makes sense to me to put them there. So that is all. That is the whole section. Electric cords, empty boxes, glue, blah, blah, blah. Next is the daunting kitchen. After that is the pantry. I would say I'm looking least forward to kitchen and pantry. Just because I don't have any great organizational tools, but I don't want to buy a lot of extra things just to organize my, like, glass Tupperware and things like that. So, just playing with that spare change. That's all for now for that. I'm going to get working on the kitchen later today. Hopefully I'll have that video up by tonight. We'll see how the day goes. I feel a little like this one doesn't make as much sense to me as the paperwork did. The paperwork was it really cut and dry, but this category is difficult. It's a lot of hodgepodge and potpourri. It's a lot of miscellaneous. You know, it doesn't really specify where to keep this kind of thing, and it doesn't really specify, you know, you certainly wouldn't put glue with your calendar, so that wouldn't all go in the same place. So I'm a little unclear, but I think with what I understand, I think it came out okay. And at the very least, I don't think I'm going to overthink it too much, because at the end of the day, if I want glue, I know where it is. If I want that gift for my mother-in-law, I know where it is. I know where my cord is. It's plugged into what I use, you know, that kind of thing. So hopefully this helps. I'm a bit of a fish out of water on this one, maybe like you, or maybe you have it all figured out and you can tell me what to do. So hopefully this helps somebody, though. It's certainly helped me at least tidy up the area. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next in the kitchen. Bye.